deal, Tony Dunn here, coming at you with a little interesting news. Breaking today, the Carolina Panthers released running back CJ Anderson, and whom we all thought was disgruntled with his 9 total touches on the season, or 25 touches through 9 games, right? So that is less than we expected my man to be seeing as he was on the field, or less than we expected to see of him. It's really a stunner right now. And instead, the Panthers, they move up within the ranks. They move up Cameron Artis-Payne, who, boy, if you want to talk about somebody who's worth, has a claim to being disgruntled, you know it's Cameron Artis-Payne, who is now found himself maybe active on Sunday, and really makes it a pointless sign for CJ Anderson. We don't save any money, it seems like. And now we're kind of an injury away with Christian McCaffrey from disaster, unless you're a believer like me and Cameron Artis-Payne. But at the same time, it just wasn't happening in Carolina. Now, it sounds fishy. There has to be something going on behind the scenes. You rarely hear of a healthy player being waived at this point in the season after the trade deadline. And if he was so useless, why didn't we try to get a 7th round pick for him and to do something of that effect? Instead, what we do is we paid him $3.5 million, I believe. We'll have to go back and check the over the cap figures. But to play 9 games, 25 snaps, you release him. You don't really save. I mean, like you're saying, it's kind of nothing. You don't save any money. It's past the trade deadline when there was any value there. So this seems to be about fit and happiness. If CJ Anderson goes to the Carolina Panthers and asks to be released, I still don't even think that that is the way that this should work overall, is that he can't. I mean, you need him. I mean, look at what we've done to Cameron Artis-Payne. Cameron Artis-Payne has been put on the shelf forever. And don't tell me it's because he's not good. My man has always performed adequately, if not above adequately, when he was put into the game. So to me, it just doesn't make sense, right? Cody Lashney's in the house. He says I have audio. Cody, could you tell me how the quality is? Because YouTube says my stream is on the straight bad tip, right? That the power of the stream is bad. And I have to use a different camera because I was recording it to give them a troubleshoot in case we had problems. But now it seems to be working. Maybe we can get back in the shindig, and maybe we can get old Cody Lashney producing the show again. Give me a little opportunity to collect my thoughts. And right now I'm trying to collect my thoughts on why the Carolina Panthers would waive this individual, right? His name being CJ Anderson. But also, to me, this is funny right here. This gets even crazier when you start to think of that in the midst of of cutting him, you go, oh, we must be really hurting for somebody on defense. Look, the pass rush was non-existent in that game versus the Steelers. We know that Mario Addison has hurt his hip or his back a little bit. He's been nicked up. He's our youngest defensive lineman. It seems like that, other than KK. I mean, the tackles who aren't really producing. Julius Peppers, this ageless wonder, is being asked to do too much. So you say, hey, the Carolina Panthers are going to go and pick up somebody to add some depth, maybe on the defensive line, maybe somebody on the offensive line after that dreadful performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But instead they signed Travaris Cadet, who was described as a journeyman, and one individual described him as perpetually homeless. And if that makes him if he's perpetually homeless, then Cameron Artis-Payne has been forced to sleep in a pop-up tent in the backyard for the last 3.5 years. So it's really a stunner of a move. It really indicates to us that there was some sort of issue going on, whether it be unhappiness in the locker room, unhappiness in meetings with the team. But you don't just cut a healthy individual who has shown potential because you can't figure out how to use them, unless he is such a crybaby that he cried himself out of town. And if that's the case, then Cameron Arce-Payne must be never cried in his life, because that man, like I said, never got a hat ever. Right. So some people, all right, so a couple of people in the chat room, which is cool, on the impromptu, you must have the bell clicked. I like that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell. Says Daniel Duncan, we didn't use CJ, which is dumb. We got him for nothing. We could have helped us out, but I guess because of the one interception he caused, they didn't put that behind them. So maybe that is the case. If that is the case, then I'm really stunned that the Carolina Panthers would be so petty. It can't be that. If it was seriously that, then nobody on the team could ever make a mistake. James Bradbury, out of here. Cut. Who else? Captain Munnerlyn, cut. Right? And I don't think the depth is so huge there. Is that you've put a ton of work on McCaffrey, yes. I think either at this point you said, we don't know how to use you, and you won't shut up about needing to play. We can't take it anymore. Because the fact that they signed a running back is the particularly strange part of this, right? Is that we could have found a million other justifications about how they could have made do with Cameron Arce-Payne in the event of an injury, or that that we desperately needed some help on the offensive line, that we desperately needed some help on the defensive line. But it just doesn't make any sense where you've got a guy who's kind of the power back, the guy that is especially good in pass protection, or at least that's what we've been told over and over and over again. Fine, don't use him, but to release him is so bizarre. It's got to mean that there are some hidden things going on that just couldn't be worked through. Personality differences, an example maybe. Imagine if this is an example to the locker room of what this gets you if you don't buy into the program, maybe, All right, so guys, we're going to have a lot to talk about on the Tuesday night show. It's live at 9 p.m. You can check us out on every major outlet. Now we're going to be back on, hopefully using Shindig. If you guys want to go ahead and download the Shindig app, you can be a part. We can bring you in. You know how we have the cat calls, 252-228-5098. We can feature your calls, but that's, you speaking into a voicemail and having to take it essentially off the air. If you want to be a greater part of the show, we can cycle you in for a minute, get your, we'll keep it quick. We'll keep them moving, but bring you in, let you have a little, get the microphone for a second, step up to the mic and be a part of the C3 Panthers podcast. It is the longest running podcast in Panther Nation, as well as I feel like one of the most interactive of podcasts in Panther Nation. So get the Shindig app. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. Follow on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Smash the thumbs up button. And really what I need y'all to do is jump into this comment section right down below. And let me know what you think about this CJ Anderson release. Is this a good decision by the Carolina Panthers? Is it a terrible decision? Are you befuddled by this decision? And what do you think the true story is back behind this? Right? Last couple of comments. Colton Phillips says, I remember when Vince McMahon told Bret the Hitman Hart that the WCW wouldn't know how to use his talent. And that's exactly what happened to CJ Anderson Carolina didn't know how to use him. It's so I cannot fathom again. I mean, that may very well be the case, but Norv Turner has just shown so much versatility as an offensive coordinator. I just don't understand how he could not have known how to use a guy like CJ Anderson. It's pretty simple, I would think, is run between those tackles right there, block, we're in third down. Daniel Duncan said it would have been the next Stewart and Williams, one who had speed and one who had power. You know, maybe we didn't know how to use them. I mean, obviously, I think Colton probably is right about that because we didn't do it. We didn't know how to use them. And when we did use them, we felt like we were losing so much with McCaffrey. I thought we were starting to see some creativeness of those coming in the way we saw the usage of these guys. And in a couple of weeks ago, you know, when we were praising how great this offense looked against Tampa Bay, I mean, we're splitting. We had McCaffrey and CJ out there, and we split them both out into wide receiver positions. And it was a thing of beauty. I would have loved to see, you know, it seems like we're going to start motioning, doing some more things with Christian McCaffrey. We're going to use him as a receiver. You haven't seen his carries tremendously go up. You see his touches continuing to go up, but he has not necessarily been running the ball 18 times a game, I don't feel like, on average. He has been effective. A lot of this is part of maybe CJ Anderson's just the